Well, hello, time management fans. My name is Glenn Watt, Senior Editor of Time Management Magazine. Today, we're fortunate enough to be joined by none other than the founder of Noseby, Michael Sliwinski. Michael Sliwinski is a productivity guy. He's the founder of Noseby, an award-winning project management and collaboration platform, web-based with native apps for the Mac, Windows, Android, iPad, and the iPhone. He's the editor of The Productive Magazine and best-selling co-author of the book iPad Only. I know I've been a fan of Michael's for some time before we started. Michael is a software guy. I'm a software guy, and I've really looked forward to speaking with Michael for some time. Michael, your most recent book, iPad Only, is about productivity on the iPad. What inspired you to create a book?
Thank you, thank you. I've been really busy with running my software company, but I had this book in me, and I just wanted to throw it out, and that's why I contacted my co-author Augusto Pinat and told him let's write the book together. If you agree, we'll have the time to actually pull it off and do it. That's why I decided to contact him and try to co-write with him, and yeah, the book is out.
Can you tell me about your productivity prior to going iPad on?
Well, before iPad, I using the iPad, I was using different devices. I mean, first of all, I was using normal laptops, and then laptops with swinging screens, like tablet PC laptops. They were the cool things back in the day. And then later, I switched to the Mac. I bought the MacBook Air, and I was using MacBook Air, ever since. And then I started using the iPad mainly for productivity. I mean, for like consuming content and reading. And then I decided, when I wanted to switch to a smaller MacBook Air, I decided not to. I decided instead of that, let's just get an iPad, a powerful iPad with cellular connection, and see if it will work for me. And especially that I wanted to motivate my developers of Noseby to make sure that we get a really good, a decent iPad app. Because our iPad app, we wanted to have our own iPad app from our house, designed in-house in Noseby, because we had a third-party iPad app before. And I wanted to make sure that they do a great job. So I said, the boss is on the iPad, so you better do a good job on the iPad. And this is what I decided to check it out. And the most important thing is that I wanted to see this post-PC era, if we're really in this post-PC world, and if it's really true that you can you can do most of the things on the iPad and on the iPhone and still be more productive. And this is why I started using the iPad like a year ago, and eventually I turned to the iPad.
What kinds of things did you need to do to make the shift to using only an iPad?
Well, the most important thing is that it's a different way of working, because what happens is that instead of having many windows open on your computer, you have just one app at a time. So you have to make sure that you use this app very well. And most of all, you have to make sure that the app that you choose does specified things very, very well. And another thing, which is very important, was the fact that I wanted to, you have to go to the cloud. You have to migrate all of the stuff to the cloud. You have to go to Dropbox, Evernote, Noseby. I mean, you have to use the cloud services, because this is the best way to take advantage of the iPad's power. And I always wanted to go to the cloud, but because you're on a Mac and you have a big hard drive, you don't get an incentive to actually do that. But I decided, when you go to the iPad, there is no way. You have to just switch to the cloud. And this is what I did, and I haven't looked back.
What did you discover was the biggest time saver of using an iPad only?
Yeah, I think the most important thing was that with the computer, you have lots of options. When you work on a traditional computer, you have lots of options. You can, to accomplish one goal, you can do this or that, or go this route, or open this application or the other one, or maybe copy there, drag the file there, and just start working with generating lots of files and everything. But with the iPad, there are no files; they're just apps, and the apps have some things there, right? So suddenly you decide, okay, do this and that. I have to switch. I have to go to this app, and you're like more focused because of the fact that you know that to accomplish this and that, you have to go to this app, and then you are in a mode of accomplishing this thing. So there are less distractions. You're more focused, and you actually know which app does what.
Of all the apps that you use, what would you say was the biggest time saver?
Yes, I mean, most of our, the Dropbox, for example, application is a glue to everything because many apps rely on Dropbox. So I think Dropbox is one of the key things that you have to use when you are on the iPad. So for example, the book we wrote in Byword, and I do all of my writing in Byword, which syncs with Dropbox and iCloud. So it uses the Dropbox. And then the Evernote is also very important because the Evernote, I throw everything into Evernote. So for example, I give this example in the book. When I get an invoice through email, what I do is I forward this email directly to Evernote. And then in the Evernote, my accountant has access to a notebook that we share, and then they can see the invoice. Before the iPad, I never thought about forwarding email, which was easy. I would download the invoice to my downloads folder. Then I would just at the end of the week I would go through my downloads folder, move it to Evernote. I would do more things. I would take more steps to achieve this instead of just forwarding the email to Evernote and that's it. So I think the Evernote, Dropbox, and of course for me because I have all my tasks in Nozbe. Nozbe is my third pillar of my iPad only work. But Evernote and Dropbox, and mostly Dropbox because it syncs with all the apps, or let's say the apps sync with Dropbox. It's like the main pillar of working iPad only.
Wow, there's some really great ideas. And your idea of allowing your accountant to have access to your Evernote folder, that's brilliant. That's brilliant because I know what kind of hassle that can be. I think I'm going to do the same thing. That's brilliant. And I mean, of course, Nozbe is a huge time saver as well, and Evernote and Dropbox. Those are all really good applications. What would you like someone to take away from this interview after they see it?
The thing is that, let's say, productivity is about focus, let's say. So if you want to get more done, you need more focus. And the thing is that what we have found out with Augusto in iPad only, this is why we wrote the book, is that with the iPad, you have more focus. There are less distractions. There are less things that distract you from your actual work. So you can really focus on these, on the task at hand. So I would say this: try to look at what you're doing on the computer, and see if you can really start, design the workflows that you're doing. I mean, really, if you're getting something done, just think about it. Put up the steps and see if you can shrink the steps to as few as possible. It will look like you're introducing a corporate policy or something like that. So it will look very weird in the first thing. But then when you look at it, it will just help you. It will help you get really the thing that you want to do done without focusing on the way how to get it done. And this is what happened with us. We started looking at what we were doing on the computer and starting thinking, how would we do the same thing on the iPad? I mean, how would we achieve the same thing on the iPad? Not do it the same way, but achieve the same result. And then we thought, okay, on the iPad I will have to go to this app, then send this to the other app, and then just go there.
What should be the biggest takeaway for people who see this interview?
I think the biggest thing would be to look at how you're working on the computer. To look how much you're I mean, how many steps it takes for you to achieve your regular tasks, your things that you're doing most of the time. And when you look at it, maybe write it down. To write a blog post, I open this. I write here. I write there. I send it over there. I do this. And then when you do it, you see the path that takes you there, and then see if you can shrink it to fewer steps. To make it to simplify it. Because this is what we did when we moved to the iPad. We thought we were looking at everything that we're doing on the computer and trying to achieve the same thing on the iPad, but not going the same route, but achieving the same result on the iPad. And this is how we managed to simplify our tasks and get a lot done on the iPad. So I'm not trying to convince everyone that everyone should go and work on the iPads. I mean, do whatever you want. You can still work on your computer, no problem. What happens is that many people don't take their time to really focus on to simplify their workflows, to look at their workflows, how they do what they do. Because when you study how you do what you do, you find that there's lots of room for improvement, and this will enable you to have more time and more focus to actually get done what you need to get done, what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. When you can focus in on and I guess there's been a number of different studies that have been done about multitasking and single and monotasking, and this fits perfectly with that. I mean, that's one thing that the iPad is really good at, monotasking. So I completely see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a brilliant strategy.
Yeah, the thing is that people think that they can multitask, but it's not true. We can switch our focus very quickly. That's true. But sometimes for many tasks you need longer periods of focus. You need the flow, and to achieve that, it's better to focus on single tasking. To just don't put too many tasks at hand. And really, when you cannot put many windows on the iPad, when there's just one app at a time, it helps. I mean, this and the fact that I know that the app open right now is used for this and that. So I will just focus on this and that instead of the other thing.
What is the question that you're dying to answer? No one has ever answered.
Well, I don't know. This one is, I don't know. I mean, people usually don't ask me about how actually I work. So they don't ask me about. I mean, I show it off. I show off my home office on my blog, but they actually don't ask me about it a lot in the interviews. But the fact of the matter is that in my company, in Nosby, we are close to 20 people, and everybody works from home, and I also work from home. And this is, I think, something that people don't expect from a company, this, let's say, size. I mean, we're a small company, but still, people don't expect us that we don't have any office, because this has been always a thing for startups, that they have to have a fancy office and Xbox and all this stuff. The thing is that we don't like to work in the office. Okay, maybe some people do, but in my company, I try to gather people that would prefer to work at home, because our work is focused on results, on actually productivity. And you cannot fake it when you're working remotely, because you have to deliver results. And we do it because we believe that the job is not a place to go, but it's a thing you do. That's why we work from home. And I think this is something that people have been asking me a lot. And I would say, I think what Nozbe has achieved over the last more than 6 years of its existence is showing that you can have a global company. Founded anywhere, I mean, in Poland in our case, but you can work from anywhere you want. And this is what we did. And the same thing we did with our iPad-only book, which we co-wrote with Augusto. And I have never seen Augusto in real life yet. So, you can do it without, seeing this person in real life. I mean, we will see each other eventually, I'm sure. But until that moment, we haven't. And we didn't need to write a book together. So the same thing goes with our work at Nozbe, that we can do this stuff. We can be a global company, run from home, from different homes.
What is your passion outside of time management?
Well, I have several. I mean, I do sports, so I mean, maybe I'm not the biggest sports guy there, but I really like basketball. I really like running, jogging, and I just did my first half marathon. So I do that. But my biggest passion is my family. So I have two beautiful daughters and a very beautiful wife, and it's amazing to see them, to see them around me and to see my daughters grow. So I think this is my biggest passion right now outside of work. And also, I'm a geek, so I like all these gadgets, and this is why I love working at Nozbe, because we have this company that has apps for Android, iPhone, iPad, so I get all the gadgets. So just recently, I had to buy iPad Mini and an iPod Touch to install iOS 7 on them to make sure that I have the testing, environment for our upcoming Nozbe application. And my wife was like, "Why do you need the second iPad? Why do you need, this? And this is a waste of money." I was like, no, I'm investing in something I need for my company, right? So I get an excuse to buy really cool gadgets, and I'm a geek, so for me it's the best thing ever because I love my job so much. And so this will be it. And I like writing. This is why I always wanted to be a writer. I always wanted to write. This is why I'm so happy and privileged that Augusto wanted to co-write this book with me, because this gave me a kick. To do it. I wouldn't have written this book without him. And thanks to the fact that I had to commit to writing a book with him, I had to wake up earlier. I had to make time to write. Even in my busy schedule, I just had to make time to write and edit the book. And this was really important that I did it. So that's why writing is also something I really like. And I like reading books, but I don't read books actually. I read books. I mean, people read books to me. I get audiobooks. So I think it's the best thing ever. Audiobooks, seriously, is the best thing ever. Before audiobooks, I was reading like 2 or 3 books a year, which was just pathetic. But I knew that there is some good wisdom there in these books. But I had never I never had time to read the book. And I was never the type of person that likes to sit on the armchair with a book and all. I mean, no, none of this stuff. My wife is like that. I never, had this connection with the books. But when I started reading audiobooks, suddenly I was, reading 30 books a year, because it's a different dynamic. Because I figured out that when I drive my girls to kindergarten, or where I go run errands or do anything else, or jog or cycle, then I can read the book in the same time, right? So this is why also reading is also something I really like, but when they read to me rather than I read myself.
Wow, that's another awesome idea. I know myself. I'm the same way. Although since I started the magazine, I've had to force myself to read.
Yes.
My reading's gone way up, but same as you, 2 or 3 books a year before that. And now I'm just thinking that's a really good idea. Maybe that's what I should be doing. I should be doing the audiobooks, because myself that sounds like a really great idea for when you're jogging or when you're running. That's fantastic. I think I'll be doing that too.
Especially Glenn, the fact that you can speed up when they read the books to you, because normally when they read the books very slowly. And I speak pretty fast, so I can also understand pretty fast. So I can really bump the speed to 1.5 or even 2 times the speed of a normal, read. So actually, it takes me 4 or 5 hours to read a book in this sense. So it's really a cool thing.
Wow, that's another great tip. What app do you use for that?
No, I have an Audible subscription, so I use Audible, and over there, in all the Audible app on the iPhone, you can set the speed. They even let you do 3 times the speed, but it's just too fast. But if somebody is up for it, then they can do that as well. But I just use Audible. I have the platinum subscription there, because they give you lots of credits there to get the books, and I think it's a really good deal, and it forces me to get new books and read them.
And Who would you say is your biggest inspiration or hero?
Well, I have several, but the first when I started Nozbe was David Allen, and I was really amazed, reading his book and everything he's done. So I was really privileged to meet him in person just 1 year after I founded Nozbe. So it was just amazing, just to be able to dine with my rock star. So I know David personally, and he's an amazing guy, and he's one of my biggest role models, let's say. And another one I would say I have is Michael Hyatt. I don't know if you know him. Michael Hyatt has a very successful blog. He's an ex CEO of Thomas Nelson and one of the biggest publishers in the world. And he's a fantastic guy, also a fantastic person, fantastic friend, and a great mentor. So I think I would say these two guys are the guys I really look up to, and to some extent, I would say also our late Steve Jobs, because I think I've read all the books about Steve Jobs, and I'm right now due to see the Jobs movie, and I've seen other movies about Steve Jobs, and there are some things about Steve Jobs I don't like, but there are some things that really fascinate me about this guy.
Wow. Yeah, I could have an hour conversation about everyone you just mentioned. And talking about David Allen and Michael Hyatt, they're both in the magazine. And after talking to them, they're something that I don't know if everyone gets to see, but they're genuinely really nice people.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I mean, I run the Proactive magazine, so I have this magazine about productivity, which I've recently stopped publishing, but we're going to put it back. And the thing is that the first issue was done thanks to David Allen because he agreed to do the interview, and he did it, just like that. It was very genuinely, great of him to just agree on that very very easily. And yeah, Michael Hyatt, I've had the privilege also to meet him in person. Oh, he's an amazing guy. He's just an amazing guy. But I think this is the thing. If they are just great, nice guys and with good beliefs and good morals and so they attract people and this is why they achieve so much success. So they are great examples to follow.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Michael. Was there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Well, I think nothing we have said in the interview. Just try to see how we work, and if you need any questions about being iPad only or my application or anything like that, you can catch me at michael@nosby.com is my email, and Sliwinski on Twitter, and michaelsliwinski.com is my website. So if you need to catch me, I'm there. And Glenn, thank you so much for having me. It's been a privilege, and I'm really happy to be on Time Management Magazine.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. It's been a pleasure having you, and thank you for joining us. Talk to you soon. What is your passion outside of time? Who is your biggest inspiration?